Oh, that rampage! Oh, that rampage!
If you look up the word old school in the MMA dictionary, then you'll see an image
Bomb.
of Wanderlei Silva. The Brazilian berserker brawled like a demon.
Oh, shit.
Defined the wild slobberknocker genre.
Getting as good as he gets. Shooting.
Ah!
And stomped opposition into oblivion on an industrial scale.
Another stop! Make it faster! And he is finished!
Today we take
Fatality.
Bro, you can stone people? Hold on. Look, yo, y'all told me to react to him. I'm here. I don't know why I was calling him Wanderlei. Wanderlei Silva, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Y'all already know what's going on, man. Want me to discover more athletes, UFC, martial arts, boxing? Let me know in the comments. The legends. Let me know. Follow the journey, man. But, hey, this man was kicking people in the face.
a deep dive into the axe murderer's bloodthirsty path of destruction, which made him the king of Pride FC.
Oh, my.
Jackson walks into a right hand and he's stunned. He's riddled.
I can't believe he But the only thing I really know about... Oh, my. He did rampage.
Fatality.
I didn't know he. But the only thing I know about Wanderlei is when him and Chael was like, I can't let you get close. That's the only thing, bro. I didn't even know he was on this. What company is this?
Young
That
Silva
Pride?
often fought in the streets and at the age of 13 joined
heard
the
about
famous
Pride.
shootbox team in Curitiba, home of the best South American strikers. He soon earned the nickname Mad Dog and won the
Mad
National
Dog.
Thai Boxing Championship twice. By 18 years old, the Brazilian
He
had
can
tried
box?
his hand at Vale Tudo, a local no-holds-barred competition. After countless victories, the 20-year-old Wanderlei made a pro debut. Vand got the famous tattoo on the back of his head and participated in an old-school one-day IVC tournament. The quarterfinalist from the United States initially tried to establish close contact. However, Vand quickly forced him to look for consolation in the referee's arms.
Bro, that kick sounded like a fucking bat hit him across the head. I know that tattoo like his head hurt though. Bro, it sounded like a bat hit this dude.
In the referee's arms.
Bam!
Not even voodoo magic could save the adversary in the semifinal. Silva
Voodoo
dinged
magic.
his skull,
Sobe o pé, já sentou a esquerda, um jab,
put him on a butcher's table,
foi reclamar,
and let the meat pounders fly.
não conseguiu tirar a cabeça.
Meat
do cara,
pounders,
conseguiu. Nossa, cara. Forte esse cara.
Oh my
muito
God.
Forte, não.
Stop
Tá
the fight.
doido. É que demorou muito.
Vanderlei made it to the final and instigated the usual last man standing massacre.
Bro, this is bird knuckles straight nasty.
The Mad Dog kept firing from all guns, including signature headbutts.
Olha aqui, só. Outra vez. Os dois procuram a luta. Olha,
Because headbutt?
não tem tá evitando. Os dois. Olha.
Niggas headbutting him trying to give his own self a concussion. Nah, yo, who is this man? Who is this guy? He's literally an animal.
The counterpart would occasionally find success
What am I watching?
and complain about Silva's cut. Vand tried his best to finish the job before the officials intervened.
É impressionante. Olha lá. Que coisa, troça.
But when blood started flowing, the referee freaked out and cut the meeting short.
Eu paralisei a luta porque
The ferocious Brazilian turned around quickly and retaliated with a series of brutal victories, courtesy of old-school soccer kicks.
Sentiu esse soco aí, rapaz. Acabou a luta. Finalizado.
ele não deu a mínima chance. E aí finalizou.
Patented knees also served their fight-ending purpose.
Chance. Não dá a mínima chance pra ele.
Bro, hey, back in the day, bro, it was like gladiators, bro. I understand why y'all like y'all old folks be like, y'all soft, bro.
sobe com muita
Bro.
força e bateu o americano.
This is
Não
dangerous.
tem nem de fazer um comentário.
Vitória.
This causing.
With
Now he
matters
got them
going so
gloves on,
well,
yeah.
the trip to the octagon seemed inevitable. In 1998, 22-year-old
1998.
Vond was welcomed by Vitor Belfort. The owner of the fastest hands in the sport was crushing the opposition in his early UFCs.
Oh, big right hand landed. Good hands. Belfort. Good hands. Real fast hands by Belfort.
Needless to say,
And
that when the
accurate. What are you
Brazilian
talking about?
gangsters are throwing down, expect nothing less than a knockout.
Is wearing shoes, so he will not be able to strike with the.
Oh!
Oh, he does with the hands though. Vitor Belfort. It's
That's Vitor? I heard about Vitor, how he'd one of the legends, but I never really watched him before. So let me know if in the comments should I do a video on Vitor. But he got the minks. Putting the hands on
Going
Wanderlei.
down, expect nothing less than a knockout.
is wearing shoes, so he will not
Meat,
be
meat,
able
meat.
to strike with the feet. Oh, he does with the hands though. Vitor Belfort is the winner. 44 seconds.
Silva recklessly ran into Phenom straights and took a nap in the
talking
first
about-
minute.
He caught like 6 of them over better.
To get back on the right track, Wanderlei went up against a wrestler and put the lethal knees into action again.
Gotta keep busy on the fencing, or Mario Yamasaki will
Oh,
separate. There
drop
we
me.
go.
He done.
He's done. That's gonna do it. And the fight is over. Wanderlei Silva.
From that moment on, Silva was known exclusively as the Axe Murderer.
The axe
At the
murderer.
dawn of the new millennium, he crossed paths with Tito Ortiz for the vacant
Tito?
UFC belt.
Here we go.
I know about
The
Tito.
Brazilian strategy was to inflict damage in the stand-up.
Oh, he's got him in trouble.
Well, Wanderlei fought
The
everybody. I
big-headed
did not know.
American, on the other hand, was eager to lay and pray. Tito scored takedowns in every round and
Tito
won
was
by
strong.
decision.
Oh,
Good hands of
Tito was strong.
This defeat would be Vaughn's last for many years. Asian promoters took interest in the furious daredevil and invited him to Pride FC, where his historic run
Pride.
began. In 2000, the Japanese MMA giant captivated the combat sports sphere with a monumental Grand Prix. By assembling a dream team into a single-night open-weight tournament, Pride fulfilled the fans'
Open-weight
wildest
tournament.
expectations with a bunch of landmark battles.
Oh, he sleep.
The grandiose finale elevated the promotion's status to heights never seen before.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
At the same time,
You get knee to the head in Pride? On the ground? Oh.
the UFC suffered from both financial problems and political obstacles. Due to a lack of choice, the best fighters on the planet were migrating to Japan in numbers. It was in the midst of this power shift that Wanderlei joined the organization. In January, he faced Bob Schreiber, a Thai boxing champion with a formidable punch.
And look at the way that
fighter either. I think that
Nevertheless, Silva was a butcher to Bob's vegetarian.
Oh,
not
knees.
connecting, throws that knee up the center. Whoop. Went for the high kick, tried to trick him.
All of a sudden, the Brazilian played a gambit with a
Now
takedown
he's covering up. He should be trying to reach up
and snatched the only submission of his career.
The only
Oh, there it
submission.
is. He's squeezing, and he tapped.
The change in style made the fans concerned, but in the shootout
What,
with
just get
Guy
your wrist
Metzger,
loose?
bloody rivers were flowing again. The American decided to go toe-to-toe.
Barely missed. Measure going with right hand.
Oh!
With a creepy smile across his face, Vond launched a favela-style 1-2.
Sleepy.
Back on the feet, Silva sensed the enemy's life fade
Oh!
and made a statement.
Head buddy?
Mesmer's in trouble.
Nailing the opponent with the final hook, the Axe Murderer won the hearts of the Japanese public.
Hand over and over, knocking out.
The unbeaten Dan Henderson was the next to enter
Dan
the ring
Henderson?
opposite Silva.
Hold on, why was Dan Henderson in... Hold on, Dan Henderson was in Pride? I mean, Pride? See, I know a little about Dan.
Big
I didn't know he was in
The
them.
granite-chinned
how
warrior
they
could
know
have
about
wrestled
Dan is
from the
crazy.
jump, but chose to test the Brazilian's power.
Oh!
Beautiful right hand by Wanderlei Silva, dropping Dan Henderson down on his back.
From that moment on, the battle turned into a carnage carnival.
Position favors Henderson. Wanderlei winging away, catching.
Both
But they throwing the house at each other. The cribbo, they throwing
contestants
the
were
crib.
falling down more often than soccer players on the field.
Wanderlei is hurt. Henderson chopping away. Good right hand. Henderson on top. Wanderlei's ready to go. Wanderlei coming in. Right hand by Wanderlei Silva. Dan shooting in. Good defense.
By the end of the opening 10 minutes, Wanderlei looked noticeably fresher.
On the inside, Henderson chopping away. Wanderlei flaring up and nothing landed.
He was in complete control.
Stomp kick.
Fuck no.
Well, I'd have said rough end the fight, bro. That nigga just put his heels in my head. But what is going on? Wait, bro.
Wanderlei flaring up and nothing landed.
He was in complete control.
Oh my
Kick there by
God.
Wanderlei. I don't know if it landed. What he's got.
And literally held Hendo by the throat.
If he starts to get grounded and pounded.
Oh my God.
Right hand.
In the
He's brutal. He's vicious. He held that man by his throat. He held another grown man. Another grown man by his throat and was beating him. Who is this guy? And why I know, bro?
second round, the slaughter continued with renewed momentum.
Wanderlei comes charged position. Uppercut by Henderson. Nice knee by Dan Henderson. And Henderson chopping with the uppercuts. Slugging it out. Dan Henderson giving as good as he gets.
Oh.
Shooting for the takedown.
And despite getting dropped repeatedly,
Try for the kick. Dan trying to drop that right hand. Oh, Dan walking into a punch.
surrender never crossed Dan's mind.
Be happy. Okay, there it is.
A truly old-school fight between two unstoppable killers came down in favor of Silva.
Okay, no surprise to us.
Having gone 5 years in MMA with a record of 14-3 with 11 knockouts, in March of 2001, the Brazilian earned a showdown with Kazushi Sakuraba. The
Kazushi
Japanese star
Sakuraba.
was considered the best grappler in the organization,
Ah!
if not the whole
Don't break
world.
it.
Has go for the knee bar. Situation here, folks.
Saku tortured the famous Gracie clan for years.
Look at this with the knee. Good right hand. Go for toe spanking him.
And humiliated Vitor Belfort like it was
Damn.
nothing.
Word?
Jumping.
Hold on, who this guy? He beating up everybody? Who was he?
Pounding.
On a special occasion, Tito Ortiz was invited to the ring holding flowers.
Take the flowers and gives him a kiss.
The axe murderer was not distracted one bit. He burned a hole through Sakuraba during the stare down and enforced a no hostage
crazy.
policy after it.
Moving forward. Sakuraba with a low kick. Wanderlei going to the knees. Wanderlei really.
As it turned out, Kazushi ran on a similar platform
Sakuraba.
Oh!
and soon launched a counteroffensive.
He throwing bombs!
Knockout here.
He throwing bombs.
It was all in vain, however. The samurai held the fort
Headbutt.
during a storm
Oh,
and
knees to
paid
head.
a bitter price.
He could not. Sakura's got to tuck and roll. He's got to pull guard. Oh my God! The referee goes right.
Stemming from the results of this confrontation, Sakuraba completely lost the aura of invincibility, and Wanderlei received a symbolic belt.
Favors the Muay Thai fighter.
In their November rematch, a real inaugural title was on the line, and other locals were nothing but a treat for
Already, but I think he's going to be outclassed there by Wanderlei Silva.
Going to go for the ground and pound. Going to go for the soccer kick, and there's a kick by Wanderlei. Wanderlei blasting.
Oh!
Doomed
Wanderlei knocking. That's it. That's it.
Silva's biggest moment of 2002 was the battle against Pride's big acquisition, Mirko Cro Cop. The famous cemetery high kick wielder has long been considered a star.
That nigga look like his body is made out of granite, stone. Bro, Michael Crocop, who the
are in K1.
Ah!
In MMA, though,
Shit sound
this
like a
was
bat
only
going
his
across somebody's
fourth
head.
performance.
Oh, boy.
This is the first time where Wanderlei lost a stare down. Wanderlei was used to staring guys down, and they would be intimidated, and Crow Cop looked at him like he was dinner.
I ain't gonna lie. Coca look like, man, I'm about to eat your kids, man. Nah, this is crazy. He looked like he made out of granite, though. His body, like, didn't like it moved. Like if you touch his body, it like fuck your fingers up. Nah, hold on. Joe Rogan? Hold on. That's hard. Joe Rogan said, how do I? Nah, this is crazy. Hold on.
Performance.
Oh, boy.
So this
This
must
is
have
the
been a
first
legendary
time
fight or something.
where Wanderlei lost a stare down. Wanderlei was used to staring guys down,
that shit like a
and they would be
scary-ass
intimidated,
stare-down.
and Crow Cop looked at him like he was dinner.
Despite the Croatian's formidable appearance, Vaughn was landing takedowns with ease,
We saw that against Henderson. Wanderlei going for the takedown and gets it.
throwing heat on the ground,
Hey guys, I think he never expected.
and doing well in the stand-up.
That was a good right hand for Wanderlei there.
But according to special rules of the bout, the scrap ended in a draw.
Without question.
Look at his body. Yo, look at Van body.
Special rules of the bout, the scrap ended in a draw.
Without
Look at his. Oh, look at his body.
question.
Ah, you see under right here? Oh my God. Like he was getting beat with a hammer. I'm telling y'all, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. Hey, respect to them fighters, bro. I ain't gonna respect. Cause Kavon wouldn't. I ain't gonna lie. I might have to get in that ring with it though. I might have to box, but all that kicking shit, I ain't going.
In 2003, Pride put together a middleweight Grand Prix for the ages, set to reveal the best across all organizations. In the quarterfinal, poor Sakuraba was unlucky enough to run into Wanderlei again. Kazushi abided by the same game plan and engaged in an all-out war.
Bam, bam, ooh.
Good chance of winning this time.
Ooh.
left that connects by Sakura.
The Japanese gent stubbornly stood a couple of hooks away from the most dangerous man on the planet.
Wants to start. Oh, look at there we go.
I'll tell you what,
And it cost him dearly.
it'll land.
Oh, sleep.
Fatality.
Bam, bam.
Silva's 1-2 found a home, and Saku's resuscitation took longer than the fight itself. An acclaimed judoka, Hidehiko Yoshida, opposed Vaughn in the semifinal. The Olympic gold medalist wasted no time striking.
Oh. Oh.
The Brazilian
shit.
answered with an underhook getup.
Oh, how strong was Wanderlei? Was he on him? No, man. Dad, when you picking another grown man up? Like, bruh. That's like some next level.
And went for broke the moment his feet touched the canvas.
First round loss. And there's
Oh!
good high.
You better go for the takedown.
Left.
Yes.
And there's knee to the left knee. And now they are exchanging blows. Both fighters getting some.
Yoshida fought as if on Vicodin.
And a good right by
It's
Yoshida.
no Viking in
And
his
another one as the blows exchange.
Still, no amount of painkillers could alleviate the agony of defeat.
That knee is
Ooh.
set up the left. There's a high kick that lands.
He holding his shirt. You gotta take that.
Convincing
You gotta take
decision
that
win
off, bro.
advanced Silva to the
You gotta take it
final
off.
versus Quentin Jackson.
Rampage.
By that point, Rampage had been practicing signature slams in the Pride ring for 3 years.
From chance of blasting in and getting.
Oh, he's up on his head.
And became the #1 contender, ruining former UFC heavyweight champ Kevin Randleman.
Oh!
He and
Bro,
Vaughn
we definitely gotta watch Rampage. We gotta.
had a
watch
nasty scuffle back then.
Holy shit.
Okay, it's on. It's on.
But the title fight was canceled because of the Grand Prix. Quentin was not a happy camper about it and melted the Iceman himself in the semifinal, the
Ooh.
great Chuck Liddell. Oozing with confidence, the finalists faced off in the center. Silva gave up a takedown from the get-go.
Rampage hunting him down. There's the takedown.
He's got one arm in between.
I think he's
And was forced to withstand ground and pound. As soon as they got up, the axe murderer went into ripper mode.
Misses the kick there. Nice knee inside. Nice kick, nice chopping kick.
Follows it with the left eye.
Again with the knees.
And his lips bent in a terrifying grin.
Look at him smiling at him right there.
He is. Wanderlei smiling at him. And that is it.
That's the end of it right there.
Damn. He beat Rampage that bad? Bro, what was Van on, bro? That nigga, hey, he had it, bro.
Eating a high kick like a KFC drumstick, Jackson gorged on the knee dessert and fell victim to Wanderlei's charm.
God. I think they might have been smiling at each other. We only saw it from one angle, I think.
Meanwhile, this was only the beginning of the conflict. Preparing for an inevitable sequel, Silva had a tune-up fight against Ikuhisa Minua.
Here we go.
Rocking briefs, the Japanese fighter made a move first with a takedown attempt. But when Mad Engine starts, Minua Man immediately goes flat.
Oh, God. He's unbelievable. I told you, he hits like a mule.
The axe murderer has always been quick to switch from chill to kill, and that night was no different. In the wake of their second clash with Rampage on Halloween of 2004, Silva step danced on the dome of former UFC title challenger Yuki Kondo. Rampage, in turn, scored arguably the greatest obliteration in the history of the sport.
I told you, he picked him up and slammed him to the ground. He's out.
That nigga Batista bombed that nigga. Huh. So now we know that Batista bomb finisher is actually real. We might gotta do a wrestling reaction. Let me know in the comments if we do a wrestling reaction. I used to watch wrestling back in the day, I ain't gonna lie.
Rampage, in turn, scored arguably the greatest obliteration in the history of the sport.
I told you, he picked him up and slammed him to the ground. He's out.
Jackson went into the title rematch with a wide smile.
Meets him with a smile.
He obviously made defensive improvements and got to work South Central Menace way.
Nicely done. And now Jackson unloaded, blocking low kick delivered by Silva. Now we have a nice exchange. Nice knee. All right, here we go.
Vaughn simply smirked and let the cleavers fly.
Silva gets busy. Tie clinch and a couple of knees delivered. Now Jackson looking for a tie clinch. Uppercut misses. Wow.
To close the 10-minute round, the fight of the year got even more heated, leading to a knockdown.
Less than a minute.
But the Brazilian's favela experience allowed him to last until the break. When the fierce skirmish picked up in the second,
Let's go. Silva now, fearing that, yes, this fight has turned around. He comes out flying, and now the strikes continue.
Silva recreated the outcome of the first meeting with shocking accuracy.
1:45 remaining round two, and Jackson walks into a right hand, and he's stunned. He's hit. There's the middleweight tournament.
Oh my God! Jackson has been knocked down.
Throwing a dynamite of right hand, Vaughn extinguished the light in the enemy's eyes with devastating knees. The unsettling image of Rampage's limp body was a perfect justification for the axe murderer's moniker. Having reached an absolute peak with an unbeaten streak of 18 performances with 14 knockouts, the Brazilian bit off more
This nigga just did Rampage dirty twice.
than he could chew. In December of 2004, the Shootbox alum jumped into the ring with K1 champion Mark Hunt, who was 80 pounds heavier.
I mean, Coco kicked me full in the head. I wasn't aching.
Silva spent the whole contest blasting fireballs at every opportunity.
Look on your face right now.
He secured multiple takedowns.
Nice takedown. Striking ability. Oh, big uppercut.
And was constantly looking
Bro, he's taking down this 80. Bro, he weighed 80 more pounds. He's taking down this man like he's lightweight. He's taking him down like he's easy money. This man had to be a weightlifter or something. Man. I'm talking about like a bodybuilder or something. This nigga taking these
to wreck the Super Samoan.
Looking for the head stop. Socket kick misses.
But Vond himself got hurt badly more than once.
Trying to unload with the left.
Surviving another tough landing. And Hunt's trademark atomic butt drop.
The atomic butt drop.
The atomic butt drop is insane. What we talking? What if he'd have knocked him out?
The Brazilian ended up on the losing end of a controversial decision. His first defeat in 5 years. The 16-man Grand Prix in 2005 didn't go Wanderlei's way either. The sequel with Yoshida was a mirror image of the first fight.
Weighed in at 200 pounds, and here's the slugfest, the fans, and
including its outcome.
Between Yoshida and Silva.
Here we go.
There's the axe stomper.
A rising Japanese star, Kazuhiro Nakamura, became a sacrificial lamb on the Brazilian Kratos' altar.
Talk of, hey! All right. Oh, and he should have left them.
He should have left them on. Damn, bro.
Luck betrayed Silva in the semifinal. A grappler from Brazil, Ricardo Arona, was able to withstand a barrage of heavy artillery.
Oh, Silva comes in, but Arona delivers a knee, but then again. But again, now Silva.
Then he would get the compatriot down to the floor.
Fans have dreamed about. There's on again, Arona.
Yep, he knows the clock is ticking, and he knows he has to do something. Oh, nice.
Now Arona bull rushes him, takedown.
And score points on the way to winning a decision.
Landing some lefts and rights. Ricardo Arona has done what.
To the delight of the shootbox team, Wanderlei's friend, Young Shogun, dealt with Arona in the final.
Look at that.
Damn.
Fast forward 4 months, Silva also got back at his offender, turning the wrestling game plan against him.
Arona and has him on the canvas. Oh, and a knee right there.
Great takedown.
The fans also anticipating that some fireworks will happen here in the final minute and a half of this title fight.
Despite the victory and a 4th title defense, that evening became a turning point in Wanderlei's career. Right before the rematch with Arona, Silva witnessed a scuffle between Charles Bennett and Cristiano Marcelo in the locker room. Waking up after being strangled, disoriented Bennett sucker punched Vond and knocked him out. He suddenly turned around and punched me, hit me right on the chin. I remember sitting on the bench and asking the coach, "What happened?" He says, "This guy just knocked you out." Whether it was a coincidence or wear and tear starting to take its toll, but in the next 2 years in Pride, Silva showed clear signs of decline. 06 took off well, when Vond was a slot in to replace the great Fedor as part of the Openweight Grand Prix. He was confronted by Kazuyuki Ironhead Fujita, who made the last emperor sweat bullets 3 years prior.
Fedor's in huge trouble here.
In the quarterfinal, the thick-skulled scientific mystery was bald during the stare-down.
The crowd ready to explode.
Still, Silva promptly found the rhythm with his signature pendulum swings.
Now Fujita attacks him. Wow. Silva now coming back.
Oh my God.
That nigga Vegeta.
Oh!
Fujita survived and took the fight to the floor.
I ain't gonna lie, these are vicious.
Vond nearly tore off the adversary's arm.
Very difficult.
Wow.
Fujita survives yet again.
Back on the feet, he began hunting down the mangled Ironhead.
Overhand right and left and right, and now
sleep.
Soon, generous punching investments started paying dividends.
Into the final.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe he got back up. He's still in this.
It looks like referee was gonna stop the fight.
Dropped twice in a row, the wobbled Kazuyuki had enough.
Oh my God! Can you believe it?
Bro, the Pride is different, boy. What? These are nasty. Now, Wanderlei is...
Come September, Silva was scheduled to rematch the knockout dynamo Mirko Cro Cop in the semifinal. 4 years have passed since their first collision, and in that time, in the semifinal. 4 years have passed since their first collision,
That
and
nigga
in
legs
that
is a
time,
bat.
the Croatian went from an MMA
His legs
novice
is a
to a
bat.
hard-nosed veteran of 25 fights.
I'm talking about a fucking bat, bro. Like, what? Sleep.
MMA fans wanted a dream match and dream.
Both athletes got to work at the outset.
To get to Cro Cop, you have to be aggressive. Oh my gosh!
Nevertheless, windmill punches were no match for Mirko's sharpshooting approach.
Left hand as well as there's Silva. The one thing on Silva is his wild.
And by the 2-minute mark, Wanderlei plummeted.
You can see Silva's got.
Ooh.
Oh, no. He got dropped! He got dropped!
The swelling caused by the grounded pound severely obstructed the Brazilian's vision.
Really recover here if he wants to win
Oh
this
my
fight.
God.
Backstanding, Cro Cop preoccupied the antagonist with body kicks
Another nice middle kick delivered.
and went up top.
Cro Cop.
Oh no!
Told that bitch got a bat for a leg, bro.
We told you the left high kick has sent many opponents to the MMA.
This cemetery high kick deserved Knockout of the Year honors, and its author eventually won the Grand Prix and became the Fighter of the Year. 5 months down the line, Dan Henderson also got his chance at revenge. Over the years, the American's H-bomb turned into a trademark and brought along a plethora of knockouts.
And opening up with a
Shots, he's got him down. He's got him down. Can he finish the fight?
As well as the title, one weight class below. Nevertheless, as long as the Brazilian was fresh, the audience was witnessing a blitzkrieg of violent hooks from title.
Also, the Pride middleweight champion.
Pride collapsed. Damn. They probably need because they needed a star.
Disproving rumors of retirement, the 31-year-old Silva signed a contract with the UFC. His opponent was none other than Chuck Liddell, someone Wanderlei had been eager to throw down with for a while.
I want to fight with Chuck here. Chuck.
Wanderlei Silva versus Chuck Liddell here in Las Vegas.
UFC for many years.
Yeah, Randy might be hurt. Randy trying to close in though now. And he goes down. He's down. And Chuck
And
Chuck
managed to
Liddell,
defend
yeah,
the title
Chuck Liddell.
4 times. So he was open to a fun fight with Silva. The old school alumni meeting was held in December. 15 minutes of action. The fans were the real winners.
Wanderlei Silva, ladies and gentlemen.
That man.
Eventually, Silva gained a foothold in the UFC, but never reached quite the same heights he did in his 20s. The axe murderer suffered from injuries, lost here and there.
Rampage got him back. Rampage got him back. He did Rampage dirty though, I ain't gonna lie.
Be that as it may, Vaughn has always been living proof that no matter how fast enemies run, fate.
He was about to kick that nigga something vicious.
Hey, Vaughn has always been living proof that no matter how fast enemies run,
he was about to kick that.
Always catches up.
Throw some of those knees. It could be good night.
And
down goes Jardine.
Keeps in trouble.
If the Brazilian won, he did so in violent fashion. Kung Lee being a perfect illustration.
Looks for a knee and a head kick. Oh, big right
Wanderlei's
hand. Again. No. It is all over.
ruthless slugfest with former UFC champion Rich Franklin became instant classics. In their first encounter, both threw heavy leather for 15 minutes.
Pushing forward. He landed another one again. He loves a brawl.
Coming forward on Rich Franklin.
Finishing with a rabid exchange.
Elbows from the back. Punches from the front. Wow. What a way to finish.
The second rendezvous was no different.
Under a minute on the clock here in the second. Silva pushing forward. There's the windmill. There's the knees. And again he connects. Rich throws him aside.
Oh!
After mutual knockdowns,
Right hand. Oh! swinging wildly to the finish. Wanderlei Silva, Strickland. Rich Henry at the end.
The American came out of the Dilogy the winner by decision. During the 6-year-long UFC stint, a lot has changed outside the cage. Upon moving to the U.S., Silva opened his own training center in Las Vegas, a substitute for Shootbox. Howbeit, the most striking transformation was in appearance.
Wanderlei didn't get Botox. He had his face reconstructed because his nose, he had been in so many brawls, they took a chunk of his rib and rebuilt his nose, and he had his nose built
Damn.
big so he could breathe out of it more. And then he had all the scar tissue removed from his eyebrows and then pulled back.
Still, Vaughn carried the same axe murderer mentality and couldn't simply fade into retirement. By March 2013, he came back to form, got the main event spot in Japan in the same Saitama Arena opposite Brian's stand, and each spectator got a bang for their buck.
We are underway.
Things picked up where they left off in the second frame.
Very even when you're talking about...
And
What a tremendous fight!
The 37-year-old Silva unleashed his murderous combination and nailed Stan to the canvas. The Fight of the Year acclaim and 2 bonuses went to the knockout machine. Idol with a standing ovation.
That's hard.
Vaughn retired from
this
active
man
competition with this bout. His quarrel with Chael Sonnen became
He
viral.
lets you get close. Takedown. Elbows. Oh!
But they both got suspended for having rocket fuel in their systems. However, the 2017 veteran...
They both got suspended for having rocket fuel. Boys on the road.
Sleep scrap was worth a watch.
Their fists, their feet. Silva creating distance. Sonnen gets nailed with the right hand by Silva. Sonnen comes in the attack. He clipped Wanderlei. And now they're swinging for the fences at Madison Square Garden.
To sum it up, Chael was taking Wanderlei down and grinding out a decision.
Chael, the
A year later, Silva split a retirement bonus with Rampage and never fought since.
So he can use that counter.
Jackson.
Sleep, D. Damn. 2-2, huh?
The record is set in stone at 35-14 with 27 brutal demolitions.
Great show of respect, man. Great show of respect.
Icons.
Wanderlei Silva competed against the best when the best were all in Pride FC. He set the promotion's eternal records for wins, knockouts, title defenses, and had the longest unbeaten streak.
So he the greatest Pride fighter of all time. It's not even close. Greatest Pride fighter of all time is not even close.
The left hook and a right hand.
A merciless axe murderer who became the heart and soul of an entire era.
Bro, he was headbutting motherfuckers, bro. Once you start headbutting motherfuckers, yeah, you crazy. Yeah, you insane. Yeah, you wasn't born regular, bro. Hey, let me know in the comments y'all want me to react to next, bro. This is insane, bro. Y'all, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Back in the day, I don't know if I would have survived. Hey, look, like, comment, subscribe, man. Follow the journey. Y'all already know what to do, man. I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Y'all already know what's going on, man. No cap.